Here's some important information about rat prevention from the city's Vector Control Department.
Some of the reasons that you may see rats are things such as railroad tracks near your home. They do like to live along the tracks. 2, it could be that you live near a business district. Rats love to eat out of dumpsters, and so we often find that there's more activity near business districts. Another reason you may be seeing rats in your area could be neighboring properties. Sometimes your neighbors don't even realize it, but they could have factors on their properties that create a rat infestation or colonization that now affect your property. Another reason that you may see increased rat activity in your area would be local construction projects. Very often when we're working on these CSO projects or any other type of road project, it does drive those rat colonies out of the sewers into our welcoming neighborhoods.
Some of the signs that rats are on your property is that there could be burrows or nests where rats are living. And what we mean by burrows, those are nests where the rats are living underground, just under the surface. A little bit different than what you might see with chipmunks or some other creatures. Rats are just under the surface, and there's usually an opening about the size of a tennis ball, not far from a large mound of dirt. They're excavators. They move the dirt out so they can move in. There could be gnaw marks on the structures on your property, be it garages or other things, or sheds or things of that nature. It also could be runways. Rats, they can't see very well, so they usually travel the same path over and over again, so they kind of beat the grass down or gravel or what have you, and leave a trail of sorts that you might be able to find in grass or dirt. Also, there might be droppings in a particular area where they may be living.
Well, there's 3 major points. 1, let's try to remove all food sources as much as possible. 2, let's remove or prevent water sources. And 3, let's try to control rat harborage. And really, rat harborage is just a fancy way of saying places that they can live and hide comfortably. So when we're thinking along the lines of food, rats generally come onto your property, or any property for that matter, because they're hungry and they're looking for something to eat. Some of the most common food sources in a residential neighborhood are going to be trash that's not bagged, so you place it out, you're not tying the bag, you're putting it out in a box, or you're just literally throwing it on the ground like litter. Rats are scavengers. They're going to find that. Another source of food would be dog droppings or bird droppings. Rats love dog waste, and all of the vitamins and nutrients that you feed your pets, that comes out in their waste, and that's an excellent diet for rats. Another source of food would be ground feeding. Although it's very nice to feed our bird and squirrel friends, any food that hits the ground or that's overflowing in your bird feeders, rats have access to that, and they will eat that. They love it, as a matter of fact. And over time, they could be a predator to that very bird, squirrel, or chipmunk that you're friendly enough to try and feed. So it's actually harmful for them as well. Another source of food would be a vegetable garden or a fruit tree that you're not harvesting. So when your vegetables start to rot and hit the ground, or your fruit falls to the ground, another great source of food for rats, just like human beings. So it's imperative when you have these types of gardens or fruit trees that you're pruning them regularly and you're removing all of that food from the ground as quickly as possible. In regard to water sources, they're a little bit harder to control. Please don't leave your children's pools out. That stagnant water, they'll drink from that. If you have pet bowls of water outside, that's another excellent source to attract rats to your property. So it's a little bit harder to control water than food, but if at all possible, prevent that. And the last point is the harborage, or the housing for rats. They love to live in seclusion. They love when their bodies feel safe, when they're covered on all sides, which is why they make holes and burrow in the ground. So they like to burrow underneath cement, underneath pavers. So if you have a shed in your backyard or any type of a structure and you have cement underneath without footings or a rat wall, that's an excellent home for the rats. They also like tall, dense foliage. So those weed trees and that grass and some of your foliage that's growing along your fence lines, although we may think it's beautiful or we may just not care about it, that provides an excellent source for the rats to travel around. So rats do like to travel along straight lines. So along your garage foundation, your home foundation, any of your fence lines, if we could keep dense foliage trimmed up about 6 to 9 inches, or any weed trees or unintended foliage cut down, that's going to be very helpful. They don't like sunlight. You should call the city anytime you have a rat concern or you're seeing increased rat activity in your area or in your neighborhood. We're always here to help. Some of the things that you may want to be cognizant of when you're calling the city is, please, do not try to prevent this on your own. Do not place rodenticides or any other type of rat poison out onto the ground on your own. First of all, it's against the law if it's not placed properly. Second of all, there's unintended consequences. Very often, rodenticides that aren't placed properly end up in the mouths of squirrels, chipmunks, children, dogs, cats, and we don't want that to happen. So there's a proper way that you're supposed to do that. Second of all, it's super important to note that this is a courtesy that the city provides. It's not a guaranteed service. So while Wayne and I will come out and we'll do our best to guide you and assist with rodenticide placement if possible, it's not always going to be a guarantee. There are some circumstances in which you may have to clean the property, and it may not be that the rats are living on your property. And so we're going to have a different route or a different solution. In other cases, it may be that the rats are living inside a structure, such as your garage or your home. In that case, the city does not mitigate that problem. In that case, you have to hire a licensed and insured professional pest control contractor. Although, you should always call us first, because we're going to do our best to guide you to the right solution for you. And remember, when you need help, you can reach us at 313-943-2099 or 313-943-2161, and our administrators would be happy to get an inspection scheduled.